Good night, everyone. Tonight, God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Irma Jerry Spirit Divine. Here, give you a word on tonight. And the topic going to be Jacob goes to Egypt. With everything that he owned. Just part two. What we talked about yesterday. Just to continue on, Jacob had went to Egypt. And Joseph spoke with Pharaoh to give his family their own land because of all the stuff and everything that Jacob had. Now you're gonna come from Genesis chapter 47, 1 through 12. Now Joseph told Pharaoh, that his father and brothers with their flocks and herds, livestock, everything they own, have came from the land of Canaan and are now in Goshen. Joseph had chose five of his brothers to represent before Pharaoh. Now you see Joseph's small, Joseph's in charge, and so he got the family is bad in Canada, is bad, is severe in um Egypt, but Joseph coming up with a plan to help his family, to get his family inside Egypt. So he gonna get five of his intelligent brothers, who will answer the questions correctly when Pharaoh asks them the question. Now remember, Joseph instruct them on what to say. When Pharaoh asked him, we'll see Joseph had picked five of his brothers who are able to answer Pharaoh questions correctly. Pharaoh asked the brothers, "What is your occupation?" So the brothers replied, to Pharaoh, your servant are shepherds, just as our father was. And they also said that we have come to live on here for a while because of the famine is so severe in Canada. So and your servant flocks have no pastor. Their flocks is unclean to the Egyptian. So now please, he's saying now please let us, settle here in Gusau in Egypt. So he picked the wisest brothers, to be there to answer these questions for Pharaoh. So we see the five brothers he chose answered the questions correctly. So now Pharaoh has said to Joseph, settle your father, your brothers, and give them the best part of the land. Let them live in Gusau. So Jacob with 70 members, he got 70 members. They're already large. Already. He got 7 members, 7 offspring with him. Flocks, livestock, all kind of animals. He got everything and settled in the land of Gusau in Egypt. Now Joseph to represent his father before Pharaoh. Jacob had blessed Pharaoh, and Pharaoh asked him, how old are you? So after they got to talking, then Pharaoh gonna turn around and ask, well, how old are you? And so Jacob said, I'm 130 years old. He said his years had been few and difficult. And then Jacob went out from his presence. I guess Jacob want to continue on staying there for him asking questions. And he asked him how old he is. Most people don't ask that, those questions. But Joseph, he settled his father and brothers in Egypt and give them property in the best part of the land. Now he took care of his father, took care of his brothers. Now they're in a crisis, and Joseph, he's not even trying to do no cashback or no kind of revenge. He's trying to take care of the whole family. He is in charge. This is the baby brother that's in charge and taking care of his family, trying to find the best part of the land for them. You know, and Pharaoh direct Joseph also to provide the father and brothers and household food. So Joseph is he taking good care of them, giving them the best part of the land. And now he about to provide food for them. It's not gonna last too long because the famine gonna be severe in Egypt also. But we're gonna see how smart and wise um Joseph is. He doing his job very well. His being in charge. So the Israelite moved. So they moved to Egypt. To play a significant role in their relationship with God. As Joseph acknowledged God engineering their relocation to pressure them not only from famine but also from the corruption influence of the Canaanites. And see, that's why God had told them, had told them, don't let your sons marry none of Canaanites women. Because they was kind of glad to get away from there because it was corrupted. Was a bad influence on there. Because see, when they get ready to conquer that land, all of them gonna have to leave. All of them gonna have to get out of that land when they get ready to conquer that land. Whom they have been living among. And they have been divided among themselves until the reunion with Joseph focused them into the union that faces the guilt of the past. Because see the brothers right now, Joseph done everything he can to provide for them. But the brothers they still have a little guilt, for what they did to their brother. And right now, Joseph not even trying to think of that about right now. He just trying to take care of his family, trying to get them a roof over their head, trying to give them food and make sure they provide. And Joseph not even trying to worry about revenge right now. He's trying to make sure they okay. But the brothers is drilling on to pass what they did. So now they're ready to press towards the future together. They're gonna be ready. They're ready to press on the future together. They got a lot of time to make up, but after all, it's gonna be so busy. You're gonna have severe so much in Egypt till Joseph gonna say at his last age. No, Jacob at his last time. He ain't even had time to even try to have a decent happiness with Joseph because everything just been so busy that they really didn't have time to catch up on anything. So they're supposed to press towards the future together. They was all there, but they really had too much time to really embrace each other of happiness that Joseph is still here. So through those circumstances, God fulfilled his promise, to Abraham, saving this remnant from which he will be a nation. So a lot of times God work in chaos. All this chaos going on, with the family in Canada, the family in Egypt, but that was God's plan. It still was being fulfilled. Still being fulfilled. His promise to Abraham, it's still coming to pass. This is the beginning of his plan. So Joseph fulfilling this, affect his entire family. The decision that Joseph had to make, it affect his whole family, and he did an excellent job. He found a decent place for him because Jacob wants to take everything with him. So he had to find a land that's gonna hold all his animals, all his livestock, hold all his stuff. He got 70 offspring with him, and they constantly growing, they constantly getting married, constantly having children, and they're multiplying, they're multiplying greatly, because that's what had God a while back, that's what God had told him. Once you get to Egypt, I need y'all to multiply because you're going to multiply as a great nation. So you must have wondered about his future. Joseph had wondered about his future, but instead of despairing, he faithfully obeyed God and he did what was right. He didn't really get mad and real on what his brothers did. He constantly was just trying to work and trying to do the right thing because everything was so busy, everything was so chaos. But even in the chaos, God's plan was still being fulfilled. So here we see one of the exciting results that we may not always see the effect of our faith, but we can be sure that God will honor faithfulness. And one thing that he likes, faithfulness, because God is a faithful God. He got a plan for you. He ain't gonna leave your side until it's fulfilled. So he been with Jacob his whole life. Jacob, just like Jacob said, he had a few times to really enjoy life because he had so much difficulty. And that's how I am. It's just so much difficulty that be in your journey, obstacles that be in your way. So you got to kind of make life happy for you. And it's just so much chaos. Jacob said it was few and difficulty in his life. But he made it to that point. He gonna die at a full age. Over 100 some years. And so a lot of time we just gotta push our way through. through the difficulty. Because God, He still get glory over difficulty. His plan still fulfilled in the difficulty. He don't stop, and we can't stop. We got to keep on moving and pressing our way too. And that's what Joseph did. He pressed his way through. He wrestled with God. He had to serve 14 years to get his wife. Then he had to deal with Laman chasing him and stuff. So he went through a whole lot also. Joseph went through a whole lot. 20 some years. He went through something, being in prison, in the pit, a slave. But then God still arised him to the top. You know, just like Joe. Joe lost everything. He kept on being faithful to God. He kept on holding on. God allowed him to get everything back at the end. You know, but He don't just give it to you so easily. His Son Jesus had to suffer on this earth. So we had to go through so much pain and suffering. We ain't gonna get no promotion or nothing so easily handed to us. Jesus came down here and had to go through so much pain and suffering. And that's why we have to go through so much pain and suffering. And God expects for us to still fulfill His plan among the chaos. Because we see it was so much chaos, so they couldn't even have time for their family reunion. They came together, you know. And Jacob said the same thing, but they still made it through because God's plan will still be fulfilled in chaos. God worked better in our weakness. He worked better in our weakness. So God don't let that stop. He expects us not to stop either. He wants us to continue on, moving forward in the chaos. Because He ain't gonna stop. The battle is His. So all our burden, we have to put it on God. We cannot stop. Because God will still bless you in the mix of the chaos. And I see a lot of the prophets. A lot of prophets have went through a whole lot. But end up a happy ending. No matter what Joseph, Jacob, whatever they went through, at the end it was a happy end because Jacob was able to see his son Joseph, who he thought was dead before he died. So that was a happy ending, and it was a blessing, and it was also was a miracle. For them two to come together when Jacob lived a long time, and mourning for his son. But God allowed him to live because God knew Joseph was still alive. So he gonna go and rest in peace because he know that Joseph is here. He done saw Joseph, still alive. And Joseph done an excellent job being in charge and making everything happen, for his family and for everybody else, because family gonna get so severe in Egypt also. So that's all the word I have for you on today. Jacob goes to Egypt, with everything that he owned. So where his son Joseph had to talk to Pharaoh to find them their own land that can hold all this stuff. Not only so many animals, but he had so many offspring that followed along with him. So that's all the word I have for you on today. You have a blessed day, and I see you in the next video.